we're going to be completing some colour mixing today, following the colours on this sheet here. I'm going to start by trying to make this purple colour. So I need to use equal measures of blue and red. I'm going to start off by just wetting my brush a little. And I'm going to take some of this blue colour here. I'm then going to place that onto my paper. And I'm now going to add equal measures of the red. I'm wetting my brush again to clean that off. And I'm going to take some from this red here. I'm just going to add that over the top, and it should give me a beautiful purple shade. So I'm just going to mix that in together. Okay, so the way of changing that shade of purple would be by changing the amount of blue or red that I add. So I'm going to this time try and add a little bit more blue than I do red. So I'm going to go for the blue first of all. I'm going to add a little bit more of that blue. Double the amount than I did last time. A little bit more of that colour. And I'm going to use less of the red this time. Mix that all in. Gives me a slightly different shade. And the same for the other time. This time I want to add a little bit more red to my shade. I'm still going to get some of the blue, just not quite as much this time. Much weaker. And I'm now going to add the red over the top of that. Much paler that time, more of a sort of pinky tone. Next colour I'm going to have a go at making is green. So I'm going to get equal measures of blue and yellow first of all. I'm just going to clean off my brush. And I'm just going to do my patch just underneath there. I'm just going to take a little bit more than that, came out a little bit watery. We'll talk about the amount of water you use as well. I'm going to clean off my brush again. What I don't want is my colours to all get mixed in this palette. That's the first time I've ever used the yellow, so I'm just going to wet it a couple of times with my brush just to make sure it picks up some of the pigment, some of the colour, and I'm going to mix that over the top there. Mixing it. Lovely, and ended up with sort of sludgy green colour there. Same as before, this time I'm going to add a little bit more blue instead of yellow. I should end up with a different colour. So I'm going to use my blue, taking more of that colour this time, just going to take ever so much more. And a little bit less yellow. Much darker at the time, and if I go for a tiny bit more blue, you'll see how much darker it goes. Okay, same for the next one, but I'm going to use more yellow. Still a little bit of blue there. And now I'm going to go on with my yellow. So you can really see how you can change the colour just by the amount that you mix in with it. Last one I'm going to look at is orange. So I'm going to mix yellow and red together. First of all, in equal measure. So I'm going to go on with my yellow first. Lovely vibrant bit of yellow there. Notice how I dip my brush in each time. And then I'm going to over with my red. Make sure it's fully mixed. I should end up with a beautiful orange colour. Okay, so this time I'm going to add more yellow than I do red. Hoping for a more yellowy tone, a lighter orange. Yellow on there first. And just a little bit of red this time. A tiny bit more than that. I'm going to add a tiny bit more yellow to that. There you go. And for the final one, I'm going to make, of the oranges, I'm going to make one with slightly more red this time. So I'm going to go with my yellow first of all. And I'm going to add more red this time. And I'm using the crimson red each time. A little bit more red. Quite subtle, those differences, but really important when you're mixing colours together. You can in fact see where I've added the red, I've mixed it up, how it's different just within each of these swatches. Final colour I'm going to have a go at mixing is this brown colour, where I'm going to use all three of the primary colours, so blue, red and yellow in equal measure. I'm going to start off with my blue. Tiny bit of water, I'm just going to add a little bit more blue to that. Wiping my brush off. Going to go on top of that with my red. It should now go purple, we know that from earlier on. Lovely, it's done what I expected it to. And now I'm going to add in the last colour, which is yellow. Mixing it up, and I should have a beautiful brown colour. And I can do the same thing that I did before. So if I want to change that shade of brown, I could add a little bit more blue, a little bit more red, or a little bit more yellow. What we're trying to avoid doing is using too much white or too much black in the colours. Really you want to explore by just changing the quantities of each of the colour that you're using.